I'm gonna be obedient. This for the young man watching. And I pray that you will watch this whole thing. The Lord has been calling me to share my testimony, so I'm gonna give a quick account of it. Coming up, some stuff that happened, but I'll start from like 11, 12, 13. I started to find myself very angry. I was angry. You couldn't find me without being angry. I was very malicious. I thought about malice a lot. I thought about hurting people. I thought about stealing, and I thought about killing people. I thought about hurting. I loved to fight. I wanted to fight everybody and everything, but I was battling myself a lot. But I loved it. Going from that, I felt worthless. I felt like I wasn't heard. I felt like I wasn't understood. But I was mad. I was mad at stuff that had happened. I was mad at people. I was mad at myself for how cause I had this image or this thing where it's like, if I would have done better, it wouldn't have turned out like that, which is a bold-faced lie. Cause we can only control what we can control, but I took that and I ran with it, and I was angry. I was depressed. I was suicidal. Tried to take my life 3 times. I was very depressed and very anxious. I was on depression medication. I was depressed and anxiety and depression medication, clinical, and it was just really bad. But I didn't cry a whole lot. I just liked being angry. It was my release for a while, and sports was my release too. I found my identity, and because I didn't have one, I found my identity and purpose in the sports. Whether it was playing football. If you asked me who I was a football player. Same with track. If you asked me who I was a track runner, long jumper, whatever. If I played baseball, I identify with baseball. But if I was weightlifting, then I identify with the weights or anything. But a lot of times outside of those confines, I identify with anger. I identify with wrath. I identify with suicide. I identify with these different spirits, and I made them my identity. So I gave them full access. And from there, it just went downhill. I love to fight. I used to love when people would say, I would never fight you. I would just shoot you or I'd kill you because you crazy, man. You too strong. You too crazy. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Or nothing like that. I used to love that because it gave me a sense of power. I used to punch walls and, cement walls, not dry walls, cement and bricks, to make sure that, nothing would break, but that I would feel it, and ended up breaking some knuckles and everything like that. But, that's what I did. I loved that, and fighting and everything. It was what I loved, and even to this day, I still have to fight it sometimes, getting mad and getting angry because I'm so used to it. I was used to it for a really long time, and sometimes it's hard trying to get over stuff like that. But the Lord is gracious, and His grace is sufficient. So off that, I went out of high school fighting and doing all this other stuff, and suicide and all this other stuff, feeling betrayed all the time and lied to, and nobody understood where I was coming from, and, fakeness and being able to see, through people, and it would make me mad, everything like that. So I got out of high school and I lost some people that were really close to me. Coming out and almost at the end of high school and coming out of high school. And I started to smoke a lot. I was smoking a lot, I had scholarships for football and track in college, and I went there and was acting a fool. Got in about 4 fights up in college. Ended up getting kicked off the football team or suspended. And I was smoking. I wouldn't go to class. I would just get high. I'd smoke, in the morning, go to football, come back, eat, and smoke again. Wouldn't go to class. I didn't care about school. I'll just smoke, you know, and eventually it caught up to me, and I ended up leaving because they was gonna kick me out. One of the dudes, I don't talk to him anymore. And I hope he sees this, so I formally apologize for that, for what I did. But I smoked, I fought, I was angry, I was still suicidal, still depressed, still mad. Smoking all the time to smoke away the things that I was feeling and dealing with. And weed became my God. And that's what I did. I used to love to get high. So I ended up leaving, came back, and I was smoking about maybe anywhere from 4 to 7 or 8 blunts a day. It depended on work or it depended on what I was doing. But if I couldn't roll the wood, I would hit a cart or a pen, and I would get high, really, really high. It turned from that, and it went from now I'm getting high to now, I'm taking pills to go to sleep. Taking shrooms, mushrooms, and psychedelics. Taking those a lot. Because weed became too common to the point where I couldn't really get high. So I wanted to still feel something. So I started taking the psychedelics and started seeing spirits around and everything like that, and demons everywhere. And but I loved the feeling of it. So I would take more. Still angry, still mad, still depressed, still suicidal. But this time I identified with the weed and the drugs because football was gone, track was gone, baseball was gone, the weights was gone, everything was gone. All I had was the weed. All I had was the drugs and the alcohol and the sex. And so much sex, like just giving myself away, to anything. To women. I had a lot of sex before marriage, a lot of drugs, a lot of fighting, and I remember one of my homies, we still talk. I was smoking with him in the car. He don't smoke. He was just in there, and he used to sit with me all the time because he could see it. And I thank God for him. But he said 3 days before this incident that he saw the spirit of death on me, and I kind of brushed it off. But in the mirror, I couldn't look myself in the mirror because I felt this really dark presence, and I didn't know what it was. I would see this big shadow behind me, and it sounds crazy, but I'm for real. And I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't because I was taking so many psychedelics. So go to this party down on the west side, and I'm in there, and I'm seeing demons all around this place, and I feel very close to death. I knew I was close to death. I was right there, because I was seeing into the spirit, but it kept getting stronger. So I'm looking into the spirit, and this partying going on or whatever, and I'm in this place, and people are surrounding where I'm at and everything, and it was a group of folk specifically that and I remember this one dude, and he was like the leader or something, you know what I'm saying, and everybody kind of answering to him, and I was watching him, and he left out the room, and he came back with about 15 people, and I knew they was targeting me because I was the only one in there that wasn't really with him. So I knew it was my time. I knew my time. It's been many times where I thought my time was up, but this time I distinctly knew that my time was up, and I wasn't scared of death. I wasn't scared of dying. Dying didn't scare me. Death didn't scare me because I was suicidal. You know, I wanted to die, but this time it was. I knew where I was going if I died. I say it like that. I knew I was going to hell, even though I was in church as a little boy and stuff. I knew I was going to hell because I was living like a devil, and that just goes to show that you being baptized at 7 years old doesn't guarantee your salvation. It doesn't. You will go to hell if you've been living like a devil. You're not saved off your grandma prayers. You're not saved off you being in church as a youngin' or just going to church in general. You will go to hell if you do not accept Jesus Christ for yourself and live for Christ. But in that moment, I called on Jesus and I said, Lord, you know, Jesus, if this is your will, let it be done. But if not, I need you to get me out of here. I need your help. And he told me to leave, so I left, and the party got shot up as I was leaving, and I left. And I think about 3 or 4 people died in that party that night. And I knew I was gonna be one of them. And I came home, and I cried for hours. I cried and I cried, and I felt peace for the first time in my life. I felt peace, real peace, the peace of God. And since that day, you know, I gave my life to the Lord, and you know, I've been living for Him ever since. But you know, it's a walk and it's a struggle, and everybody has their own struggles. Everybody, you know, has their things that, you know, the Lord is pruning out of them. For a while, when I first got saved, I was still smoking weed. I was still blowing when I first got saved, and you know, eventually I put it down, and then eventually I put the sex away, and then eventually I put the alcohol down, and eventually stopped watching porn, and then eventually, you know, I wasn't fighting no more, and then, you know, I wasn't cussing people out no more, and then I wasn't getting mad all the time, and then, you know, all of these different things, and it came by me seeking the Lord, because it was this thing where it was like He saved my life, and I owe Him my life now, not out of, you know, He's forcing me, but out of gratitude and thanksgiving. And there's still things that I'm walking out of right now, you know, and that's all right, because I'm trying my best to live holy. I'm trying my best to live consecrated. I'm trying to live right in the eyes of God. But for the young man who's seeing this, if you made it all the way this far, there's hope for you. There's grace for you. You have not outsinned grace. And the Lord wants a relationship with you. So I encourage you to give your life to Jesus. I searched through religions. I searched Islam. I searched Buddhism and you know, all of this other stuff that people said was all right and cool, and I searched for it, and I didn't find anything. But when Jesus came and the Holy Spirit, He gave me the Holy Spirit, I knew and I know with my whole heart, every fiber in me, that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. I've watched Him do crazy things that no man could do, that no man could even fathom. I've watched Him heal people's dead limbs. I've watched Him break the strongest men down. I've watched Him do magnificent things. Give your life to Jesus, for time is running out. I hope this helps somebody. God bless you.